Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
So, how was the rain for everybody listening to our show now? Did it scare you? Did you go outside and see floods? Well, I'll tell you why it's appropriate. We have MAVORNEES who's a licensed insurance agent with the Auto Club, well, AAA Auto Club South. No, I used to say South. With the AAA Auto Club
Group. Auto Club Group. Yeah.
Yeah, left that off. AAA Auto Club Group.
That's it.
That's it. And I want to say before I even forget that we do have our magazine there now at AAA, and we know a lot of people are venturing in there and Delray Beach to find them. And I think that they're also being distributed in Wellington and Coral Springs because,
Correct.
You know, we love AAA. I've said how long I've been a member since I hate to even tell you, I think in the 1960s. And I know that our manager here has also been a member for many, many years. So once you're with AAA, I don't think you ever leave MAVORNEES, do you?
You don't. And the thing is, a lot of people still think roadside service, but we are so much more. We are a one-stop solution. We have insurance, banking, travel, membership service. People still actually come and get their triptychs for their road trips. You have ID protection. You have so many benefits that it's so worth looking into if you haven't already. And particularly in our communities here where we have a lot of cyclists, we also have the bicycle service on your membership. If you're cycling and your bicycle runs a flat, we'll come and get you.
I did not know that.
Absolutely. We'll come and get you. We work closely with the schools with the helmet programs for the kids on their bicycles, the high schools with the driver safety program. So, yes, we are a one-stop solution for the entire family.
That's great. And, of course, I have MAVORNEES here because she is an expert in selling insurance to people. So while you're getting insurance, you can get some of the other things that she just talked about. But let's go back to the insurance. I have had AAA. Of course, I've been a member for, as I said, so many years. But the insurance policy, one thing I think is so important that the insurance companies come and they go.
Yes.
They come and they go. But
Particularly in
AAA
Florida.
doesn't. They just come and they stay, right?
Yes, we're here.
So what do you like about selling insurance to people?
Well, for me, insurance is fulfilling in that I can help our members to manage the risk that they go through every day with families, whether you're just starting out or you're an established family, a growing family. We have the insurance solutions that will take care of wherever you are in your life. What I find particularly fulfilling is being able to find solutions that will help our members. Sometimes there are things they haven't even thought about. For instance, with a home insurance, you may think that you have everything covered, where flood is not covered in your home insurance. So just being able to educate our members and help them to find solutions to give them the peace of mind that they know they're fully protected, all their assets are protected for whatever may come down the way.
You know, one thing that we've learned, MAVORNEES, is that people think that they're inland and there's no flood, right? So
That's
why don't
correct.
you explain a different location? Years ago, you used to be, if you lived on the ocean, you knew you had to get insurance. But now it's everywhere, isn't it?
It is everywhere. And I hear this just about every day. People come in and say, well, I'm not in a flood zone. If you live in Florida, you're in a flood zone. We are surrounded by water. And the thing is, a lot of people don't think about it, particularly if, like you said, they're inland. They don't realize they're different zones. Now, you can be in a preferred zone. You can be in a high-risk zone. It just depends on where you are located. But the flood coverage is essential for you, regardless of where you're living in Florida.
Can people buy flood insurance and no other insurance?
They can, but we'd really prefer if they take care of everything that is entailed. If you're going to take a flood policy, for instance, you're trying to manage the risk of rising water coming into your home. But what about the other perils? What about fire or burglary or hurricane? Hurricanes are a force of nature in Florida. And so you want to be sure that you're protecting every aspect of whatever could potentially happen with your home and for protecting your family, really.
So, okay, so tell us what it really entails. What if someone has the insurance for their home? That's what you're saying. Is it going to what actually happens? I mean, besides floods, because it could be other things.
Yeah, it certainly can. And particularly here in South Florida, where we have a lot of older homes or condos, we find that, folks will say, well, my insurance has gone up. Why is that happening? We haven't had any hurricanes. For instance, before we had Irma, it had been a while before we had any hurricanes. It was back with Wilma. We had a close brush with Matthew. But the other things that are happening, you have pipes that break. You have kitchen fires. There's just so many things that could happen that you want to be sure that you're taking care of all those issues that could arise from having a home.
So it's really home insurance. And it has nothing to do with your car, though, because that's separate, right?
Your car is separate. And that's the great thing also. When I say we are a one-stop solution, we really are. We do have a package policy that you can put your home and your auto together, where it's one policy with one premium and one deductible should you have an event that affects both items. And we also have, with your auto insurance, there are things that are covered with the auto insurance that you think would be with your home that are not necessarily with your home. For instance, if you do have a flood and your car gets flooded out, that's not going to fall under your home insurance. Your auto insurance has the comprehensive coverage that will take care of repairing or replacing your vehicle. If it's stolen, if it's vandalized, if it's flooded out, let's say a tree falls on it. Last year when we had the hurricanes, we had a lot of trees that went down. People had cars that were damaged or their home was slightly damaged by those trees. Your comprehensive coverage on your car will take care of that piece of your protection. But again, when it comes to your home, you want to make sure that you do have the right home insurance with adequate protection. This way, if something does happen, you're not coming out of pocket. You know that those premiums that you've been paying are going to take care of restoring your home.
What made you get into the insurance business?
Over the years, I've worked in the financial industry. Most of my experiences in the finance industry, and I came across insurance kind of by happenstance. I was looking for insurance from my mom, believe it or not, for life insurance from my mom, because she needed to get her policy reviewed and going. And I met an insurance agent that did such an awesome job of just exposing some of the things that we hadn't even thought about before. And it got me interested. I started looking into it, and I went and I got my license for property and casualty, health, and life. And I've actually written in several states. So I've had quite a bit of experience with that, and just seeing, some of the gaps that are there that people would ordinarily not think about, or they've thought about it, but for fear of thinking that it may cost too much, they just go right on living and not thinking about it until there's an emergency. And really, it is quite affordable. The things that you might think are not affordable cost you a whole lot more if you're caught unprepared than being able to make some proactive choices.
So if someone comes to AAA and they come to Coral Springs, which, by the way, let me do that. Let me tell you how you can contact MAVORNEES, because all AAA, they have different, if you try to call just the general number, you're going to get a lot of opportunities. But just write this number down. This is Pencil Talk Radio, and you'll be able to get her. 954-227-3239, extension 227. And I'm going to repeat that. 954-227-3239, extension 227. And that is MAVORNEES. And let me... MAVORNEES, and let me spell that. MAVORNEES. Her last name is Berry-Smith. And if all else fails, her nickname is Mo.
Everybody will know exactly who you're looking for. And our offices are open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m.
That's great.
So we actually have pretty extensive hours compared to a lot of businesses. 5 o'clock, the door is closed and you're pretty much out of luck. But we are there from 9 till 6 weekdays.
And you can pick up a copy of Boomer Times if they have any left. We keep trying to bring more there.
Yes.
So in other words, you handle comprehensive insurance.
Completely.
Anyone wants insurance for their car, for anything, you can get that for them, right?
Yes. The one part of it that I don't take care of is our life policies, which is actually handled by one of our life specialists, Adam Kalb. He is also in all three of our offices in Coral Springs, here in Delray, and in Wellington. And he takes care of all our financial products. Again, we do have our own bank where we do our own underwriting. So you have the life, and September actually is Life Insurance Awareness Month. So it's a great time to think about that. We do annuities, we do the life insurance, any type of investments. We have all those services for you. But for myself, I'm stationed in the property and casualty department, where it doesn't matter what it is that you need to cover. Sometimes our renters will say, well, the building is insured. The building is insured, but your personal belongings that you have worked for are not insured. And even as a renter, the flood policy actually can be one of those things that you don't want to overlook as well. If you're living on the first floor of a building and that building gets flooded, yes, the building management, they're covered for their dwelling, but your personal belongings are gone and you're starting from scratch again. So
that's a very important issue.
It's very important. So your cars, the renter's insurance, your homeowner's insurance, your boats, your RVs, your bikes, we do it all.
Let's
I'm
go
there
back.
for you.
Wait. Let's go back. We have a lot of renters now.
Yes.
And that's an important thing. So you think that your renter's insurance is going to cover a flood. It's not,
It's
right?
not. It's absolutely not. And the thing about it is a lot of complexes will require that you have a liability coverage of $100,000 at least, because if something should happen, let's say someone's delivering furniture in your place and they get hurt and they want to, file a lawsuit. They want to make sure there is liability coverage in case something happens in the unit or the premises that you're utilizing. But that's just one aspect of it. You want to make sure that all your personal belongings are protected. You want to make sure if you have pets, for instance, you want to make sure that you have animal liability. Those are things that we can take care of you that you may not have thought about. And it's great to do a review with a licensed agent so that they can help you to see if there are any gaps in things you haven't thought about on regards to the flood policy. Again, if you're living on the first floor, flood is considered rising water coming in. So if you're in a building, and particularly here, again, in South Florida, we see it. There'll be a day or two of rain. Yes, we're used to the pop-up showers throughout the year, and particularly this time of year. But if you have sustained rain for a few days, it could very well be that your parking lot is flooded, and now that's coming into your apartment.
Absolutely.
You don't want to be in a situation where you don't have protection for those things you've worked for. As a renter, it's very affordable. We can provide you with that protection, so that's one less thing you have to think about.
I know that you said something, but you don't have pet insurance. Not yet.
Not yet.
You're working on it.
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
Everybody has pets, and when you talked about that, we need to talk about that also.
Yes.
So, and the one thing that you can be assured with insurance, the worst thing is when you have an insurance policy and you have a hard time getting payment.
Correct.
But with AAA, they pay like Johnny on the spot. They are great.
We do. We have 90, at this point, I think it's at 96% satisfaction rate on our claim services. We just have to look at, like I said, even with that close call we had with Matthew and what we had with Irma last year, we were on spot. The moment that folks had issues, we were able to get out, get them their checks cut so that they could have their homes repaired. One of the aspects of your insurance as well that is not, talked about sometimes as well is the loss of use. If you live somewhere, and this goes with your renters or your homeowners. If you live somewhere and that place is damaged due to one of the perils, the loss of use part of your insurance, that coverage will make sure you have somewhere to live and you have room and board and food while your place is being repaired.
Wow.
Again, if you don't have insurance, you're left having to figure that out. Do you have a relative or are you here by yourself? You're left having to figure out what to do.
And I will tell you this from knowing so much about AAA, their rates are so good. You're not going to have to worry that anyone's taking advantage of you.
No.
You've all been around for so long, and that's why. I just recently, I guess I heard that when it was the holiday, that if you don't think you can drive, you can call AAA, and they're going to help you.
We have a program called Tow to Go. Again, because a lot of people think about us when they think about roadside service, one of the big things that's also overlooked is that we have a huge focus on safety. Our safety council does a lot of work, again, not just with the schools, with the safety patrol. If you remember the kids with the yellow band across the safety patrol, that's our program. But we also have the Tow to Go, which is a program not just for the holidays, but particularly around the holidays. It's a big thing for us. If you are somewhere and you feel that you're not, safe, you're not able to drive, we'll come and get you home.
Amazing.
We'll come in. We would rather come and get you home and know that, your vehicle's safe, you're safe, and not have to worry about you being on the road and being a danger to yourself or anyone else.
Well, I want to tell you, I just came back from North Carolina with a friend. And when we got out of the motel, we went to car. She has a new Jeep, so nothing should have happened, but it wouldn't start. So nothing would do, but she had to call AAA. She thought she'd have to have the car towed. So she calls, and the tow truck comes and all. And then the man at the tow truck said, did you try, did you call the battery people? She said, no. Well, let me check. He checked. It was just the battery. So then the man came. He had a new battery, in the truck. And we got the battery, and then we drove away. So,
back on the road.
Absolutely. And so, of course, I have used this so often. And so I'm really very, very excited about having AAA. I wouldn't go anywhere without my AAA. In fact, it's interesting, MAVORNEES, that a lot of the new car dealers offer you their own pick, it's part of, I guess, the sale. And then you get this roadside service. I would never do that. I don't care. I keep my AAA travel up because I use it for so many other things.
And the other thing about that as well, yes, a lot of these car dealerships will offer you roadside service, but what a lot of folks are not aware of, when you use the roadside service with your insurance policies, that's, even if it's a tow that's $30, $40, it's listed on your claims record as a comprehensive claim. If you call AAA, it's not reporting anywhere. It's one of the perks of your membership. Keep in mind, the membership doesn't follow the car, it follows the person. So whether you're in a rental car or you're in your own car, we'll come and assist you. And one of the great things that we have that a lot of people are probably not even aware of, when you sign up for your membership, you can actually sign someone else, an associate in your household, for free for the first year on our Classic membership. So there's just so many ways that AAA should definitely be a part of your household.
That's funny.
Planning.
You should say that because my son was always on as that associate. When he got married and he had a family, I said, listen, you got to get your own. Get off mine, right? But he has it, of course, because AAA for me is really the company. And I'm so happy that you're so happy with them. And, of course, handling the insurance is a very, very big, time-consuming department. I mean, I'm glad that they have people who care about them because I'm sure that your appointments probably last at least an hour.
It all depends. For some of our members, they're already aware of, they've been insured for years. They're aware of what's on their policy. They may just need to make a change in terms of adding a car or changing their coverages, depending on what life changes they've had. But for our members who haven't had insurance or they don't understand their insurance, one of the things that you're getting is a no obligation quote. When you come in, yes, we absolutely want you to be insured with us because we know we're going to take care of you. But one of the things that we do, we don't just write a policy for you. We find out what your needs are so that we can customize a solution that's going to make sure, again, that you have no gaps, that you and your family are properly protected. So we'll do a policy review with you, whether you've been a customer with us before or you haven't, just to be sure that we are getting you the right coverage and that you will be properly protected.
And I believe what MAVORNEES says because she represents AAA. So it's Mberrysmith, a licensed insurance agent with the AAA Auto Club Group, and she's out of Coral Springs. So let me give you her phone number. It's 954-227-3239, extension 227. So if you're now, though you don't want to go down to Coral Springs, you can always go to you can always go to Delray or go out to Wellington. They all work together, and I would think, though, after meeting MAVORNEES, I would say that you'd want to really talk to her because she's so smart. She knows all these things, and she has a great smile, so that means a lot. Well, tell me something. So there is a policy, though, I think people should be aware. You can't, if there's a hurricane out there, you can't decide you want insurance right away, right?
So I'm really glad you brought that up, Anita, because this is really one of those critical items. Yes. So with regards to both the flood and the hurricane, once you have a named storm that's out here, we're unable to write a home policy for you. Any type of home policy, we're unable to write until that named storm has subsided and it's gone. Similarly with your flood, a flood policy, unless you're just now purchasing a home, in which case if you have a mortgage, more than likely you're going to be required to have a flood policy. In that case, we can write it effective based on when you're purchasing your home, when you're closing your home. Outside of that, a flood policy has a 30-day wait period. There's a reason for that. A lot of times folks will wait until they know something is happening. Then they'll want to call and get coverage. And just think, that's not fair to anyone else who've had their coverage for many years. And it's also a risk issue in terms of what type of claims would be covering. So your flood policy typically will have a 30-day waiting period to go into effect. Unless you are now purchasing a home or you're selling your home, that's usually the only times that there's any immediate action. On your hurricane coverage, a lot of people think that because we're still in the hurricane season, you can't get coverage. That's not true. We can write your hurricane coverage the entire year. The only time there may be an issue is if there is a named storm out there that has been declared. Then our policies, we can't write the homeowner's policies at that time. But outside of that, we're here for you the entire year.
Well, let me add something to what you said about people want, now that they think there's going to be a storm and they want to call you. Years ago, I was working with a long-term healthcare salesperson, and he had some very interesting clients. And one, he begged them to buy it because he knew they're going to need it. They didn't, then didn't. All of a sudden, one day he gets a phone call, and they're in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
And they said, okay, we want the policy. He said, I'm sorry, it's too late now. So
I can see that happening.
Said.
Yes, it happens. I mean, we saw it last year. We've seen it, each time we've had any kind of threats. A lot of times we'll tell folks, we'll do the quote for you. We'll have all the information, and they won't take it then. And folks get a little stirred up and a little worried when there's a storm approaching. But it's best to be proactive. And this way we can also go through making sure you are, again, getting the right coverage. One of the big things you want to do, whether you're in an apartment or a home, is do an inventory of your belongings. You want to go ahead, get receipts, take pictures, make a list, have an inventory of everything that's there. Because this way, if there is a claim, it's more seamless. You're able to validate what's been lost that needs to be replaced, because that's the reason you have that protection.
Carol Lang, who's watching, has a question.
Yes.
Can you get renter's insurance for 6 months?
No, you need renter's insurance for a year. Now, if you do get a renter's insurance and something happens and you have to move, then by all means you can cancel the policy. But a renter's insurance is written for a year.
Okay. Well, that's why this works out, because
Yes.
people get to talk to you, even though they don't really talk, they're doing
Right.
it. Well, of course. And I know that it's not very expensive.
It's not. It absolutely isn't. When you take into account what we use our money on, okay, and I'm not here to tell anybody how to spend their money, not counting anybody's money, but the things that we purchase on a daily basis, when you think about what you're doing with insurance, your flood policy, it has limits. The highest you can actually get a flood policy for would be $250,000 on your dwelling and $100,000 on your personal belongings. There are a few companies that will write in excess of that amount. It does become more expensive then. But you can write your flood policy, depending on what it is that you have, anywhere from $10,000 on the dwelling to $250,000, and the price for that is actually very affordable. It is on a fixed tiered system because it is a program that is run by FEMA. We're certified to write it, but it is a FEMA program. And so there are tiered coverage limits and pricing that goes with that, but it is very affordable. You're talking about, in a lot of cases, less than $1 a day.
And would all the other insurance companies have the same price, or it's all priced differently?
We're all supposed to have the same price, again, because it is a FEMA program.
When you said that,
some companies do have some changes that they put in place if they, write it as an endorsement or, on another policy. But basically, we are on the same schedule in terms of premiums because it is a FEMA-based program. And I'm sorry, Anita.
No.
Thinking about flood as well. A lot of people say, "Well, I don't need flood insurance. If something happens, the government will come and take care of me." Well, there's a little fallacy about that. Yes, you will be assisted, but it will be considered a loan with a small interest on it.
Oh, really?
So,
and it'll take a long time too.
Exactly.
We know that.
Exactly. So your best option is always to be prepared.
Right. And insurance is just what it says. It ensures that you're going to have an easier way, because I'm sure there have been people who have come to you after the fact.
Yes, that is correct. So
with tears
in their eyes. And in a lot of cases, there are really dire situations where we really do want to help, but you basically have to be proactive. Come and see us. We're happy, again, to go through whatever your individual circumstances to find you the right solution. And we're, more than happy to go ahead and make sure that you are fully protected, because we are managing the risk. We're giving you peace of mind so that you don't have to worry that if something should happen, you're unprepared and you have no solutions.
Okay, and I just want to give you some information again. I think you can see that, excuse me, MAVORNEES is very smart. She knows what she's talking about. You'll want to get in touch with her. And her phone number again is 954-227-3239. And that's, of course, AAA Auto Club Group. I always want to say South. It used to be South.
It used to be South, yes. Not so long ago. So, and you've been with us. So you're used to that name. You are used to that name.
Thank you very much for being with us.
You are so welcome. And again, we have a wonderful team of experienced agents with an average of 10, 20. We have an agent that's been with insurance for more than 40 years. So you're definitely getting experience help, and we want to do what's best for you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me today.
It was a pleasure.